Okay, so since the chair's not here, I'll take lead. So first things first, there's only a few of us on call right now. Hopefully you'll pick up. But as I said, my name's Sufyan Abdul Karim. Welcome to the February forum on the 24th of February 2022 of Southall Matters. So to start off with, it will be an open discussion on any issues which residents have or have had over the last months which they want to be discussed. So is there anyone with any concerns or queries or questions which want to be answered, if to the best of our abilities we can? Angela, do you have anything on your end?
Yes, I would like to talk about the second youth plan consultation that took place last night at the Yak Centre on Parkview Avenue. And for me, it was incredibly disappointing to see that there were just a total of 5 youngsters who appeared to be within the cohort for the youth centre. And it really makes me wonder how much effort Ealing Council put into engaging with young people and also with the other locations where young people attend. So that would be our schools and local colleges.
Yep.
And as Ian said, he contacted head teachers, but it doesn't appear that information disseminated down to young people and their parents.
Yeah.
So when questions were being asked about what facilities should the youth service provide and what services, the vast majority of responses came from adults. And really, it should be young people themselves answering those questions. And that happened at both consultation meetings. Sophie?
Yep, right. So yeah, so I was there as well, as Angela Fonza knows. I was there, and all I can say was I got sent an email by Mr. Ian Jenkins. I'm not breaking GDPR here because his name is in the public domain. Ian Jenkins is head of youth services, I believe. He approached. I was outside the just the room where we were meeting in, and Ian approached me with a colleague of his, and he said to me, "Oh, it's a surprise to see you here again." So Ian, I know you're going to be watching this. So why were you surprised? Because my name wasn't on Eventbrite. I did register. You sent me an email saying that I shouldn't attend to give other youngsters a chance, yada, yada, yada. Great talk. That's all I'm going to say. Great talk. Fact of the matter is, Ian told me not to speak at all. Basically, he said, look, try not to, because let other youngsters have a chance. I said, yeah, of course, I totally respect that, as long as you mention that in your intro sort of thing. So he did do as he promised, and he did mention it. So obviously I sort of let it be until I needed to speak. Now there were myself, 2 girls, and sorry, 3 girls, I believe, and a gentleman, another gentleman. Yeah, there was five youngsters, excluding myself. And I believe the youth consultation, and I said it last month and I'll say it again, where is the consultation? I said it in the video I made. A consultation, I work for the NHS. A consultation is a discussion with a professional, say a doctor. So a doctor and a patient. You've got a one-on-one sort of consultation. You can have a 1-on-3, a 1-on-4, a 1-on-5. You can even have a panel against an audience, which is fine. That's a consultation. But you've spoken to 50 youngsters. How many youngsters in the borough of Ealing? How many youngsters affected by the decision? 50 only? No, a lot more than 50, several thousands. Now, they mentioned GolfLinks Estate as a provision on the Dormers Hub. Now, I know GolfLinks Estate because my mother lives there and I grew up on that estate for part of my life. My mother still lives on the estate, and I can say it's not a safe estate, especially for, I'm not trying to be patronizing here or anything, but for girls and for women. That estate is known for drug dealing, knife crime, gun crime, there are gangs walking that estate. And currently, I'm sure everyone on the call knows about postcode wars. There are things like that which go on in that estate. It's not an easy estate to walk down late at night. I'm not saying it's totally full on dangerous. No, there are good things about the estate, but predominantly bad things have happened to myself, especially my people I know. So GolfLinks Estate wouldn't be suitable for a location. Now, they say it's temporarily, 3 to 5 years, though, to build another youth centre. Temporarily for 3 to 5 years is far too long for a temporary provision, in my opinion. Even temporarily putting a group of youngsters, say they're 15 now, in 3 to 5 years, they'll be 18 to 20 years old. Yeah, you've got youngsters who are going to be in that estate, associating, whether you like it or not, with other people from that estate. Nothing wrong with associating people from estates. I'm one of them. I was born on a council estate, grew up there, came out like this. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with a council estate. The issue lies with there are lack of policing in the area, lack of security on the estate. There are no facilities. I know one place to eat on that estate, which is a chippy, and even then that's not suitable for youngsters who are trying to grow. There are no sort of provision for exercise. It's on a park where Telford is. There's a park there. They could say, yeah, well, there's exercise ground there. But then again, the basketball cage is mashed. There are no nets. It is surrounded by drug dealers. Drug deals happen on that estate. So that's just that with the youth consultation. Now, Ian Jenkins and the team, Councillor Mason, Nagpal, Aisha Raza, you spoke yesterday, not Councillor Mason because you didn't bother showing up, but Aisha Raza and Nagpal, you had a lot of answers. Now, this was an award forum. This was meant to be a consultation with the head of youth services, Mr. Ian Jenkins, and his colleague. So I am very, very baffled to this day why on both consultation, Nagpal, Kamaljeet Nagpal, who hardly I've ever seen in my life, lived here all my life. She's been a councillor for a couple of years. I've never seen her apart from last month. That's why, honest to God, I even told Angela Fonzo this. I didn't recognize her when she sat on the table with us. So why did she take control of that meeting? She was not delegated position of chair. She was not delegated position as spokesperson. So why was she answering? Well, because I wanted to ask questions, and when people were asking the questions, they were getting batted away like they did when I asked Councillor Mason questions at the last consultation. Now, I'm going to hand over to the chair, Joe Espangu, who's just turned up. So, Joe, do you want to take over? Your mic's
good evening to everybody. I'm sorry, I could not find the link. I've been having problems here with the internet. What a farce the meeting was. Last night, I honestly did not know. I mean, I've been involved in this for the last 20 years. I did not know how we are being controlled by Ealing Council. It seems as if nothing's really changed. It doesn't matter. In 79, I think it was, we had the Conservatives in power. And now we have the Labour administration. But it means nothing. It means there is no difference whatsoever between them. Because one thing I realized last night at the meeting at the YEC was that we are being controlled, hurled along by middle class people who have got some serious cushy numbers in Ealing Council. Our councillors have always been foolish, Sufyan. I know you were upset by the councillors, but don't be upset, because
Yeah, I know, you're right. I mean,
the problem with our councillors is they haven't got one bone that leads in their body. They're like goats and sheep, you know. Wherever the middle class tell them, sign this document, do this, do that, and this is how politics is run. The town hall, the people running the town hall, I'm talking about the departments, they're the people with the control. And you saw what sort of control freaks these people are at the meeting yesterday. I am ashamed that politics has come or has gone so low or steeped so low. We were treated with contempt yesterday. They think they can just hurdle us into their way of thinking. And it's just not going to work. I mean, I know you were talking about how they should have the alternative, or where they should have the alternative. I'm of the mind that there is no reason whatsoever to destroy the infrastructure that is in the YEC at the moment.
Before our eyes, a pure demise.
Sorry?
I think someone's off mute.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't believe that we need to sell those premises, knock those buildings down,
Yeah.
just because the councillors are doing the propaganda
Yeah,
for the
and
developers.
yeah, and I mean, Joe, like they said yesterday, the decision was made 6 years ago. So what I said yesterday was, well, right, if the decision was made 6 years ago to apply for GLA funding for this site, you already had eyes on it 6 years ago. Why didn't you consult us 6 years ago? And the answer we got was, oh, well, it takes ages for GLA funding to get to us. And if we turn around and say, no, we don't want it now, that it will have a serious trouble with the GLA. Well, we've got news for you. We don't want the funding. We don't need the funding, because the facility we've got, as Joe Bangu said, is suitable. There's nothing wrong with that facility. We've got a stable, safe, more importantly than stable, safe environment for youths to go to and feel safe to approach the various different departments if they need any help or support. I met two very intelligent young girls at the last consultation who said that they feel like they weren't listened to by Ealing Council, and this was the first dealings they had with the council. And I said to them, this is nothing new. You yourself, Joe, know this. For the last X amount of years since you've been involved, the council doesn't care. They want the money. They try to sell off the town hall. They're trying to sell off public. Number one, the town hall was a public asset, so it got saved. The YAC technically should not be destroyed, and technically, well, not even technically, they should have never even. It should never even crossed their minds 6 years ago to think, right, the YAC is a suitable location for housing, because number one, Parkview Road, where it is, what if they knock the YAC down? If you look at that ground, it's not suitable. Number one, the area is great for a youth center because it's directly off a main road. It's directly, there's all CCTV, it's well lit, it's safe. That's what I'm trying to get at. Now you look at the provision, Dormers Wells, Golf Links estate. There is very few cameras in that estate. Half the cameras don't work. And this is very worrying because I believe it's the security firm who runs the CCTV is a private contractor, who a relative of mine used to work for. And they used to deal with that estate, and they used to say the CCTV hardly works in your block. And that's in the flats where residential people are living and paying good money for. Yeah. Now, if the CCTV is not working and things go wrong, i.e. fights kick off or things like that, what are they going to say? Because they will turn around and say, well, there is no evidence. And this is where I feel that, well, sorry, you stop what you're doing now and you reverse the decision, because Councillor Mason has the authority to, because he reversed LTNs, he reversed other decisions. Why can't he reverse this?
Sufyan, I'm not worried about Peter Mason. You got to remember the words that we used yesterday at this meeting. We are the customers. The residents in the borough are the customers. The officers, the councillors are public servants. Therefore, they have to listen to us. We are the client. Yesterday, what they were trying to do to us was to dictate the terms. This is what people don't understand. It's us who have the power. We vote. We have the power. I mean, how silly can this head of youth services be that he was lying to me in my face that Ealing, London Borough of Ealing don't pay his wages? I found that ridiculous. How can you say to somebody that I work for Ealing Council, but they don't pay my wages? I found that ridiculous. I think he was shell-shocked of who are these people asking us the questions, because they're used to dictating to us. They dictate to the residents. No, it's not like this. It's like this. Well, I wouldn't go looking for an alternative place. My argument is that that building should not be touched. That is an asset for Southall. There's far too many flats in Southall, and there should be no more flats in Southall. And majority of these councillors, there won't be councillors. Come May, there won't be councillors no more, because we are living the Labour Party hell in Southall. They have destroyed Southall. The Labour Party administration has destroyed Southall. Now, Beaconsfield Road, on top of my road, where the junction is with South Road, that is closed off again. So you think all the people that have to go to Old Southall, to Heathrow Airport, is chock-a-block everywhere. These people are not going to be naive enough to vote these councillors back into power.
Well, I mean, Joe, this is the thing. You mentioned the traffic. Me and Angela Fonzo were discussing the traffic on the way to the meeting. Now, I take South Road on the way to work. The junction leading up to South Road from the Green, if you're heading out of Southall towards Northolt, where I work, that route takes me about an hour and a half in the morning. Just that stretch. The minute I go past South Road, it's normally smooth sailing all the way down Lady Margaret onto where I work. Now, yes, you're right. Chock-a-block. That's not a lie, because we've got the evidence to support that. Now, I've spoken to numerous members of TfL. I've spoken to bus drivers, I've spoken to train drivers, I've spoken to tube drivers, I've spoken to station staff. They've never seen in a bus driver's 33-year-old career, he's never witnessed the amount of traffic he's driven all across London, all across Blackburn. He's never sat in the amount of traffic than he has in Southall. So that just shows you. Now, we can't, I'll be honest with you, we can't solely pinpoint one source of the traffic, because there are numerous sources of the traffic, but the cause of the traffic is the lack of responsibility the council have taken, because when I'm pretty sure everyone's realized there's been a storm. When that storm hit, they didn't have provisions in place. The roadworks, there was a car which was actually damaged by council property. The railing has actually fallen because there was no stable railing. It was just left there overnight, and the wind had blown it onto a car and it smashed the car. So again, Ealing Council, not very careful. And I've got video evidence where Ealing Council's employed builders who have left their tools out, saws, hammers, nails. These are screwdrivers. These are possibly weapons, because if the wrong person gets hold of these, they could cause some serious damage. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Once again, incompetence. I mean, you saw the way the councillors and the officers were behaving last night. Because
Can I just come in?
Yeah.
The meeting last night, they are treating young people and the community as fools, yeah? Because if you complete the online survey, there are two options for the relocation of the yak. The first is on streets surrounding Southall Park, yeah?
Yep.
The second is on a housing development near the Dominion Centre in Norwood Green, okay? So really, they are not being specific when they know exactly where the locations are.
Well,
I found out more information from a young woman from Ealing Foundation who said the option around Ealing Park is the tennis courts. So I had a bit of a discussion with Sufyan before the meeting started, and I said, well, I think that is part of Southall Park. And he was saying, well, it's a bit of a grey area. It's on the edge of the park.
No, it's in the park.
But it would explain, you think it's in the park?
It's in the park.
Yeah. But it would explain then why there have been recent tweets from Villiers High School of pupils doing all sorts of PE activities on those tennis courts. Because quite clearly, they want to show that, you know, that hard standing is in use and is used for their PE lessons. The young woman also told me the other option, because I was thinking, is it the Havelock Estate, now known as Southall Village? Or is it going to be the Peabody development round the back of the Dominion Centre on Featherstone Terrace car park? And she said it will be the development, the Peabody development, which kind of probably explains why the new yak is 3 to 5 years away, because obviously the Peabody development has yet to commence. Now, what she said, and this doesn't bode well for the relocation of the yak if it goes to that particular site, is that Bollow Brook Youth Centre was rebuilt underneath a housing development. And this has caused all sorts of issues, that residents are complaining about noise from the youth club. And
So, Angela, what we're saying is,
feel inhibited in what they want to do.
yeah, but what we're saying is, after yesterday's pass of the meeting, yeah, they're only doing propaganda on behalf of the developers. So we, as the residents, yeah, we believe that is a wonderful building, okay, and everything works. So hands off, basically. So the council, yes, have been told last night that we do not want the development to go ahead, end of story, period. So we're not going to waste our brains, our time, looking for alternatives when there is a superstructure there already. The councillors have to be told, and the officers in Ealing Council, they must start working for the residents of Southall or the borough and stop working on behalf of the developers. It's very simple. This is what happened with the gasworks site.
Yeah,
This is
speaking
what
of
happened.
developers,
Sorry?
Jackson Gira was there last night. Was he there as a private individual? Was he there
No.
as a representative of Bartley Group? Or was he there because he is standing in Ealing Common as a Labour Party candidate?
That man is everywhere. I am not really too sure what he's about because he's a slippery character.
Well, I just
I
want to
would-
mention something. Well, he said that he's lived in Southall all his life.
Yeah.
Now, according to one of our colleagues who were there last night, he's not lived in Southall all his life. He's not affiliated with Southall all his life. So what he said there was a total lie, and I want him to retract that statement because that is not correct. And I mean, yeah, if he's there as a candidate for the Labour Party, where what he's standing for, well, do it on your own time. Don't try and influence a meeting for something which it was not set up for. That's where I stand with him.
No, I appreciate. Do you remember when I asked a question from Nagpal, Councillor Nagpal, how much money did they receive from the Mayor of London? And she
Yeah.
didn't want to answer that question. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask Leslie in the morning, the leader of our party, to do an FOI on how much money they actually did receive. Yeah. Now, I've had thoughts about that money. What we should do is, yeah, that could put more policemen onto the beat on the Broadway. I can't remember the last time I saw police officers walking the beat, either on King Street, the Green. Okay, we see them driving around in their vehicles with blue lights, etc. But I think that money could help to get more officers on the road.
Yeah,
You with me?
doing standard patrols. Because this is the thing. This is the thing, though. With the police, I mean, I've spoken about it before. They tend to they don't respond in a reasonable time. Yep,
they're short of staff. They're short of staff, Sophia.
Yeah, they're short of staff, but when somebody's got a knife to your throat, there's been incidences where I've known about where people have had knives basically gestured towards them, and the police have not turned up there for 20 to 30 minutes on blue lights.
Sophia, I'm sorry, the problem is, and this is what I've said for years now, and nobody's actually listening. The majority of residents moving into Southall, yeah, we're overpopulating Southall, okay? Not just with flats, but also with people. And at the same time, we're cutting the numbers of police officers. I said this a few years ago. And now I understand what the police are saying to the people. We had about 25 vehicles in 2 weeks, I think, smashed. They smashed the windows of the cars to steal the blue disabled badges. And a lot of people came to me upset that we called the police and the police simply just gave us a reference number. So, you know, you've got to understand there's only so many vehicles the police have, and there's only so many staff. The crime is increasing. Crime is increasing, but there isn't enough police officers, you know, to cover the crime.
Yeah.
That's what I'm seeing. I see vehicles flying up and down the Uxbridge Road, but you don't see any police officers doing the beat no more. So maybe we should write a letter and suggest to the council, because obviously the council are not using their brains, you see. They're too busy trying to help their friends, the developers, to make plenty of money out of Southall. It's us and the future generation who are going to suffer their bad decisions that they make today. I've never seen my councillor, yeah, since COVID-19, I've not seen her for a number of years. And I thought it's ridiculous. She's got time to come and shut down nice buildings that actually work. And I had to say to her yesterday, stop working on behalf of your friends. Start working for the people who voted for you. And when she was leaving, I had to say, councillor, enjoy your councillorship, because soon you will be out of a job. And that's what we tend to do.
That's the only language they will understand. They are complacent because people vote for them every 4 years. And then they're in for a shock of their life when they've got a personal issue. They want to see the councillor about it, and the councillor isn't there in their time of need, or so arrogant that they don't turn up to the surgeries that they advertise in the Around Ealing magazine. It happened to me a few years ago. I turned up at the Dominion Centre and not one of the 3 councillors turned up.
We are not worthy.
There has to be a groundswell of change in that people realise these councillors are contributing to the destruction of Southall. And I think it was quite enlightening. If I can move the conversation on to Mr. Sharma's meeting on, was it Tuesday night?
Yes.
And there were newcomers from the Norwood Green ward who recently, in the last few years, have moved to the Havelock estate, now rebranded Southall Village. And they were complaining about exactly the same issues we've been complaining about for years. Fly tipping, litter along the canal, no bins on the canal for people to deposit their rubbish, cars parked on the pavements, not being able to exit Havelock Road in a timely manner because the road is very narrow and, you know, buses get stuck and nobody can get past in their vehicles. Only having one exit from the estate and no connecting road to Tenterlow Lane. And I think these residents will realise that it's a waste of time turning up to Virendra Sharma's meetings, because he made it quite clear he was there to listen. I would have liked to have known. It's not the
Sorry,
first.
Ange, can I just come in there? Yeah, so his office, the exact words I've got here are, "This is just a listening exercise." Quoted by Dominic, his senior parliamentary assistant, I believe his title is. Now, I've got news for Dominic. If this is just a listening exercise, you're clearly doing the exercise wrong, because you aren't listening. All you're doing is recording this meeting for internal purposes. Now, I spoke to Angela privately about this. Internal purposes are, if, say, for example, Joe, you work for an officer and you can't make the meeting, he will then show you snippets and timestamps of where they want you to see. That's what internal purposes are. Not for a whole recording to say. He will jot down notes, because that's his job, to write notes for Mr. Sharma. Now, Mr. Sharma, I've got news for you. You think you've conquered England, honestly, but I've got news for you. You've not even conquered your own house, because unfortunately, Mr. Sharma, I mean, I've had dealings with the guy, and he's not even showed up to a constituency appointment, which I've had to take time off work for. I've had to log off out of work, because I was working remote at the time, 2 hours early to make a 3 o'clock meeting. I logged in, I've got the timestamp still, and this still bugs me. At 2:37, meeting was scheduled for 3 o'clock, so I knew I was early, so I waited in the waiting room until 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock came, no one let me in, so I thought maybe running late, whatever, things can happen on meetings, I get it, I understand. 3:45 came, no one let me in. So I rang his office. and his assistant, not his assistant, I can't remember her title, communications officer Sangeet Thave at the time, picked up the phone. She said, "Oh, you missed the appointment." I said, "Well, hold on a minute. I'm logged into the link you have sent me from your account, not even Mr. Sharma's account, Sangeet Thave's account, at the correct time." And she goes, "Well, we can't see you in the waiting room." So I took a picture and I emailed it to her. So I go, at this time I logged in because my work laptop at the time gave me the exact time I logged in because I was on break. I was on a work break, on a lunch hour. I logged out of work at 2:37. I logged in at 2:39 onto that meeting. So I said, "I've been on the meeting." So she goes, "You missed your appointment. You're not getting another one." So I said, "Right, I won't get another one. You'll be hearing from the Speaker of the House then, because I've got to a point with Mr. Sharma where I don't see the guy as an MP. I see him as a talking shop. And when he does talk, he doesn't speak much sense to me anyway. I don't really understand what the guy says half the time. And that's no disrespect to where he's from or anything. I just don't understand a word he says because Dominic is his mouth. Because Dominic Muffet thinks it's okay to do all the talking at his meetings. Now, I am having an appointment with my MP, not with my MP's assistant. So why are you here? You are the assistant. So please do what an assistant does and write notes and be quiet, unless I need you to get involved. So Dominic being an assistant,
ridiculous.
he thinks, no, it's just wrong. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. A friend of mine saw her MP and she spoke directly to her MP and her MP spoke to her. They had a conversation. There were no interruptions from the parliamentary assistant. In actual fact, this particular MP took notes herself. Likewise with a friend who saw Vince Cable, and he was very proactive. She had a parking issue, was issued with a parking ticket from Richmond Council, and he wrote to the council on her behalf, and the situation was resolved to her satisfaction. There was no mention of constant interruptions by any parliamentary aid. I'm exactly the same like you, Sufyan. When I make an appointment to see my MP, I want to speak directly to them. I don't want their spokesperson speaking on their behalf, persistently. And I think, you know, as I said, we're getting new demographics in Southall, new people are moving in, and they will realise if they vote for Verinder Sharma and in their time of need, they want an appointment with their MP. If they get one, they'll be very lucky, by the way, because the way I obtained an appointment, it was through a journalist, and he said, "Mr. Sharma owes me a favour," right? And I was ushered in. Mr. Sharma barely spoke to me. Again, I mean, Dominic wasn't there on this occasion. The parliamentary aide was interrupting and giving me Mr. Sharma's email. And I think, well, what do I need this for? He treated me as though I'm stupid. I emailed him using exactly the same email to ask for an appointment. And somebody else said the same thing. I'm not going to name them in this meeting. It was through a councillor, you know, who had influence, and that's why he obtained an appointment. So it always seems to be that you have to have connections to have a surgery appointment, which is absolutely ridiculous. They work for us. But there has to be change, Sufyan, because there are new people moving into the area. Demographics are changing.
And you mentioned that, so I just want to come on to that.
Sure.
Yes, demographics are changing in Southall, whether that's ethnicity, population growing of certain ethnicities in percentage going down and things like that. Now, I don't see a fair representation in the councillors, and when I say the councillors, I don't see very many, say, people from other walks of life, i.e., you don't have any for English councillors. You've got one in South, which is Councillor Mason. But then again, is he really a Southall councillor now? Because you can't even get through to him on his mobile. I don't know if that's just me because he's blocked my number, but you know what I mean? Like, there's no sort of liaison with, there's no sort of demographic, which is the difference. And the councillors, I'm not going to mention this particular councillor. When I rang him for the very first time, he asked my name. So I stated my name. I said, my name's Sufyan. He straight away started to speak to me in Punjabi. Now, I don't speak Punjabi. So why did you make that assumption of me speaking Punjabi? Then he said, do you speak Urdu? Now, I don't speak Urdu. So don't speak to me in another language. I'm in England. I want to speak in English. That is my right. So I said to him, I will have a conversation with you in English, please. He said to me, okay. So he spoke to you in English, and after 3 or 4 different languages changed. So, okay, I get we're from a multicultural society, and that's great. That's one of the reasons I love Southall. We've got people who speak. My grandfather, I think he speaks 5 or 6 different languages. My grandma speaks a couple. My aunts and uncles speak a couple. I speak one, but that's not the point. But that's because it's my choice. I can understand other languages, but I speak one sole language, which is English. And even then I struggle, but anyway. But the point I'm making is it's about when you are speaking to your country, if you've got a language barrier, I understand it's a great skill to be multilingual. It's a great skill to have. And I absolutely have the highest respect for the councils for having that skill. Because that's one skill I lack. I can understand the languages, but I can't speak them fluently. So it's a great skill. But when you are speaking to someone for the first time, don't just make a judgment of their name, because you don't know where I'm from. Yeah, you don't know what my family origin is. You don't know what language I speak at home. And it's not Urdu, Punjabi, or Hindi. So how did you even come to that assumption? Because we don't speak that language at home. Yeah, we speak English. So speak to an English. And if you have any trouble, and I'm going to be real here, society councillors do have trouble speaking English. There's a wonderful facility, I don't know if the Labour Party knows of this, called the Language Line. You get a translator on the phone. It's a free service to use. We use it at work.
It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's all it is.
And I've had instances, Joe, where a councillor said to me, well, I can't deal with this right now because I'm at a party, he said to me. This is during the pandemic, bear in mind, a party you're at. Whether it's just a family party, I couldn't get the answer, but he goes, I'm at a party, please contact another councillor. But none of the other councillors pick up the phones, apart from one young councillor, which she does. And I've got utmost respect for her because she's just, I think she's a good couple of years older than me, but she's one of the youngest councillors in Southall. And I've got utmost respect for her for always helping. But yeah, other councillors you hardly hear from. And when
she's left now, hasn't she?
I believe, yeah.
I don't think she's standing.
Yeah, I believe she has.
She's had enough of all this.
Had enough of us, I think.
No. I think she was too good for the rest of the councillors.
Can I come in a moment?
Yeah. Go for it.
David. I mean, you got to remember, people don't respect the fact if you're good at your job, there is jealousy. You understand? And people turn against you, basically.
We've got another candidate on the call.
Joe, can I say something?
Yeah, go for it, David.
Well, just that. I mean, my opinion would be that the 2 councillors, one of whom I think you're referring to now, but I think there were 2 councillors out of the Southall councillors in all the time that I've known who offered us any help or solidarity at all with the gasworks issue. And neither of them have been reselected for the upcoming elections. And I think that tells its own story, because, you know, a lot of the ones that offered no help and were positively obstructive towards us, including the new leader, the new open, transparent and inclusive leader, have been reselected. I mean, the Labour reselections are a joke anyway, because they made this big big PR show as usual about how the new candidates were selected, but they didn't have any opposition. You know, the members had 3 candidates to choose from to select 3 candidates, and so they voted for the 3 candidates.
Yeah, but
It's
even
just,
then,
as
David,
usual, it's just a complete sham.
yeah, no, even then, certain of the candidates who are running this time, they, okay, I mean, I know what the criteria is to run as a councillor, but then again, I think that needs to be reviewed. You need to actually live in the ward you're running for, because that's when people actually know what's going on firsthand. I'm experiencing the traffic, so I know about the traffic. But you've got councillors who don't even live in this area running for the ward I'm running for as well. You've got councillors in the Labour Party who, I don't know why they're becoming councillors, because they don't have time for their day job as it is. And I know that firsthand, and I can say that hand on heart. So why are they running? What is the sort of agenda behind that?
Well, I think it comes partly back to the party politics thing, doesn't it? Where you know, if they're going to vote the way that they're told to vote, if they get elected, then you know they're seen as an asset for the leader, aren't they, in the leadership group? So,
Well, yeah.
whereas if they're going to sort of show solidarity with residents who are complaining about what the developers are doing to them, then you know that's not going to go down so well, is it? So.
No.
Ridiculous.
I mean, can I just say, one of the councillors who was at the YAC consultation, I found them to be very rude and aggressive in their behaviour.
And patronising.
And patronising. And when Joe was asking very civil questions, which is his right to do, to challenge and to really understand what, as you say, the agenda is, they stood up. So they were sort of bearing down over him. And I had to say, could you sit down, please? Your body language is aggressive.
Yeah,
I think when they're challenged, their behaviour descend into bullying.
Of course.
Yeah, and even when we asked,
that's what they used to. That's what they used to. With Julian Bell as leader, he had a culture of bullying. That's how he stayed leader for so long, because he bullied his comrades into doing what he wanted, amongst other things. And of course, you know, everybody thinks, or most people seem to think, that the new leader is a breath of fresh air and different to Julian Bell, and I suppose in some ways he is. But actually, what most people probably don't realise is that he was there behind the scenes all along, from 2009 when he first came to Ealing. You know, doing things in the background, sort of organising the Labour Party. That was his role, the Ealing Labour Party, you know, organising their campaigns and things like that, driving their policy. You know, he wrote the 2018 Labour Party manifesto. Then he became housing and planning lead. You know, he's recently done a new PR thing where, you know, say, oh, we've smashed our challenging target of 2,500 genuinely affordable homes to be built in the 4 years from 2018 to 2022. Complete lies, because less than half of them have been built. You know,
I mean,
thanks to Ealing Independence Network and Leslie for putting in a freedom of information request to find that out. So you know, he's been there all along, and he's been running it. And when you put him in charge of something like housing, you get less than half the genuinely affordable homes built that you need when we have a housing crisis, and you get towers going up everywhere that nobody wants.
And there's one tower that is 75% empty a year after completion.
And needing work to maintain it.
Yes.
Because it's been badly built.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I think that's what that guy was saying on Twitter, wasn't it? I forget his name, but he was doing the work on it, wasn't he? The repairs and maintenance.
And the property developer won't lower the prices of these flats because that is going to have an impact on their balance sheet. So they'll
Yeah,
remain empty, potentially for years.
Yeah, and just about, I mean, look, we can talk all day about the council and the councils, how they failed us. But I just want to say that at the end of the day, we do need change. And this is why us at the Ealing Independent Networks, we are gonna bring change. And we're not, yeah, we might not be, I mean, me, myself, I know I'm not an experienced politician or anything, but what I am is I'm an experienced people person. I know how to conduct myself at a meeting. I know how to respect people's views, because last night I believe my views weren't respected, and last night I believe a lot of people were sent there, and I can say this because I will say it. A lot of people were sent there to defend the council, because half the people there, David, I'm pretty sure you weren't there last night, were you?
Not myself.
Yeah, so it was very full of people, and the way Ian Jenkins made it out was this event was a sellout. I'm not too sure where every person is. Well, you cancelled half the people's tickets, guaranteed. That's why it was a sellout, because most of us registered. And he turned around and said to me, well, where are your friends? Where are your friends? And I said to him, well, they're at uni. They go to uni. They've got a life outside of what we do voluntarily. Now, I didn't appreciate being pulled aside because I've been there before. Yeah, it's nothing to do with them, how many consultations I need to be at. I will go to every single consultation. I will be there on the side of people when the people need you, because people who can't make it to that meeting for reasons I stated, i.e. uni. Most people my age now, well, not most people, shouldn't say most people, but majority of the people I associate with are in uni, they're in their final years. And I'm pretty sure everyone on the call who's been to uni knows it is one of the most intense years of your life. And that is no exaggeration. Your dissertation is coming. A lot is thrown your way in the last year of uni. Yep, it's a very stressful time for everyone. So don't ask me the question, where are they tonight? Why have you registered X amount of people and X amount of people not turned up? Number one, I didn't register because my tickets got cancelled the day after I registered. And then I sent him an email where he incorrectly stated my surname. And I said to him, look, my surname is this, and what you've actually said means this. Now, my surname's Arabic, so what he actually said was very offensive to myself. Obviously, I'm pretty sure he didn't mean it in that way, but that's the way I took it, unfortunately. And he said, well, he pulled me aside, he showed me the Eventbrite piece of paper. He goes, you've registered with this. I go, no, I didn't register with that, because I'll never register with my name like that. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that to light. Now, I've got...
Sufyan, can I come in quickly? Yeah. Like you, my tickets were cancelled. And then I received an email from Ian Jenkins a few days ago, because I wrote him saying I ordered tickets, not just for myself, but also for my children and their friends. And he wanted the details, the email details, and other personal details of these young people, which I had no intention of sharing by email, because the system on Eventbrite allowed me to be the lead person and did not ask for names and emails for each ticket. So, you know, if that system is not suitable for him, then he should use an alternative booking system if he requires the name and email of all attendees. What I did observe, I think like you, I'm a people observer. It comes from my training as a careers advisor. And I sat down with my children. The man's face looked like thunder. He looked so angry. And at that point, he walked out and had a conversation with his colleague Karen. Now, as far as I'm concerned, he didn't go out of his way to engage with only 5 young people who were there. It was a very controlled exercise, and my daughter felt that her points about what services she would like to see provided and also facilities initially were ignored, because he was going around reading out the post-its. And I think a far better way to have done it actually would have been to allow everybody to wander around and have a look at the post-its themselves, talk to the person standing next to them. And if they needed to, they could have called over Karen or Ian for a discussion. But they were very rigid in their agenda. There's no deviation from their agenda.
And yeah,
And can I just say quickly, you know, they were very quick to move to a position where we were deemed rude and offensive to them. And that seems to be their default, to manage, challenge, you know, to smear us and our reputation when we are merely asking questions about the content of the consultation. And, you know, I don't shirk easily. And at the last consultation, Cam Nagpal shut me down. She didn't want to hear from me. And she said, I want to hear from young people. So she turned towards a young person, a young woman, who basically told her exactly what she thought of the consultation, that it wasn't transparent, that she felt that she was misled. And you could see Cam Nagpal's face, she was shocked, and, you know, she wasn't expecting the young person to give such a robust challenge to the sham consultation.
Yep.
So
So yeah, so I just want to mention the thing about the agenda now. So Mr. J.S. Bangu said there at the meeting, we want to answer questions now, I believe were your exact words. And I believe, what's her name? Karen said, well, we've got an agenda. Now, an agenda can always be tweaked, always. In every single meetings, I've worked for some of the biggest companies. I've worked for HSBC. I've worked for the NHS. I work for the NHS currently. We deal, when I was working for HSBC, we were dealing with multi-billion-pound clients. In meetings, agendas have to be tweaked. You have to fit the client or the customers or the people's needs. Yeah, because an agenda is bang, 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 AOB, basically. Now, in your agenda, their aim was no other questions to be, because they shut down, they go, we've got this, we've only got until 8 o'clock. You shut the meeting at exactly 7:51, I believe, when I checked. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, it's only 9 minutes. What they're going to do in 9 minutes? There was a lot to be said. And then they were still in the building past 8 o'clock. So if you've only got the building for hire or for lease until 8 o'clock, why are you still in the building at 8:30, 8:45? Because a colleague of ours, I mean, I was removed, not removed by force, removed like gestured away by security. Now, the colleague who was with us is an SIA security officer. He's a manager. The SIA agent who removed me broke 3 protocols. Yeah, and he stated them. Yeah, showing your badge, you have to have your badge and show at all times when you're on duty, so I know who you are. He refused to hand over his badge numbers. He refused to hand over his name, and these are legal duties. If you're a police officer and you touch someone or do something, you legally have to provide that information, and same with an SIA agent. Yeah, so he then thought he had some big power when he goes, well, I'm security on site. Okay, you're security on site, but you have no right to touch me. Unless I've got physical, you have no right to touch me. So I've got my colleague to look into this, and he will be writing to the company who did the security for the team, because they were very rude and they had no reason to have security on site. There was no need. It's a waste of public money, in my opinion, because an SI agent to stand there for 3 or 4 hours, they charge around about £100 per person per hour. Some people.
Yeah, there was no security. There was no security at the first consultation meeting.
It'd be a good freedom of information request to find out how much they're paying for security at these events.
Yeah, we will do. I'm just going to jot that.
I think personally, the biggest barrier to young people accessing youth services is the head of youth service. He is either from a middle or upper class background. He went to Sherborne Public School. He was a Met Police superintendent. He does not speak the language of young people. The way he treated my daughter created a barrier and was designed to intimidate and to shut her down. I would suspect this man has very little time left. He's very close to retirement age. The service needs to be headed up by somebody who is from the background of the young people who access the youth service. And they are not the children who go to public school. They wouldn't go near a youth club. And it's all about representation and equality and diversity. And what my daughter felt, that there wasn't a lot of diversity. The people in the council officers were white, apart from one youth worker. So there's sort of disproportionate use of power, and that power is used to control, and anything that's perceived as dissent that doesn't fit their narrative, that isn't agreeable to them, is shut down. And then the next step is to smear individuals and say that they are rude and offensive.
Yeah, and
that in itself, Angela, that smearing itself like that is racist as well.
Yeah, what you said. Yeah, sorry. So what you said about he's running youth services now, I could talk from experience. At my school, Featherstone High School, when I was there, I would never go to a member of staff because I felt he couldn't connect with me. He was in the same, I believe he was the same role, but he had a more senior position in behavior management in the school. I would always go to one deputy head teacher because I felt he could relate to me and he could understand me, because from speaking to him, he went to a state school. He knows how it feels to be misrepresentative. He knows how it feels to be prejudged. He knows. So I could always go to him and say, sir, this has gone on, what you advise me to do. Now, I wasn't the greatest student, no one is, but at least I was there, and at least I've got through what I needed to get through, and I've walked out of school and I can say I've done my best. Yeah. Now, correct. I wasn't always the golden child in school, and I'll say it again, I wasn't. Yeah. My grandparents can tell you I was not the golden child, but what I was a student who walked out of that school. I received an award from the head teacher for my community work in year 12. In year 13, I was nominated. I was prefect for 2 years. I had a lot of student responsibility on me, and by the time I left that school, and still to this day, I will hold I will hold my respect for that member of staff, that deputy head teacher, because even certain members of staff, heads of year, my head of year 8, till this day, if I ever needed a reference or I needed a job, if I need any help for a job or anything, he is there for me. Amount of times I've emailed him, nothing to do with the school anymore, but he is still there for me. But the member of staff I'm talking about who cannot relate, the guy absolutely patronizes students. And I know this because it's not just myself saying it. I know so many students who said to me that used to go Featherstone, right? How did you feel about this teacher? I was like, yeah, don't even want to talk about him, because I've even walked past the school when he's been on duty and he goes to me, oh, what are you doing with your life now? So I said to him, for a matter of fact, at the time I was working for the bank, I go to him, I'm working for HSBC, dealing with multi-billion pound clients. What are you doing with your life? Because honest to God, like, this is the sort of level of respect he has. Now, I've got no issue with his position in the school. Fair enough, he's a protection officer, whatever he is. Cool, do your duty. But I've got an issue when you misuse your power. Yeah. You want to threaten, and I'll use the word threaten because that's what he did, students with the Metropolitan Police. But little did you know, the Metropolitan Police could not, and I repeat, cannot search a minor without a witnessing officer. Well, you can't search you can't search anyone without a witnessing officer present. Yep. And so they are a bit on the wrong side of what I say the law. Now, I've got a lot to say about the school, but I'm going to leave it there. But all I've got to say is, for the people watching at home on YouTube, because this will be uploaded, just think of where you want your children to sort of develop, and what sort of and don't always listen to Ofsted ratings. That's one of the biggest things. Ofsted ratings, I believe, are a total, I'm not saying total con, but they're a misrepresentation, because they happen very, very oddly, once every 10 years, for 3 days or 2 days. I think it was 2 days actually, 2 days in 10 years, and you deem the school outstanding. No, outstanding school has no fights, no students being excluded, no students being internally excluded, no students being isolated. Behavior management is 100%. That's an outstanding school. Or maybe not 100%, maybe 95%. Attendance is close to 100% with all students. That is an outstanding school. What Featherstone is, it's not an outstanding school. Maybe academically, now it's picked up, because my year group, the class of 2012, well, I don't know, 2017, we left in year 11. We walked out of school with one of the best grades the school's ever seen. And we were given the hardest GCSEs ever, the syllabus ever threw at anyone. Yep. So we put the work in, and we've walked out with our heads screwed on, because most of us went to Russell Group unis. Most of us are doing very well in our lives, and I'm in contact with a lot of guys from high school. Obviously, there are going to be the odd few who don't follow the academic route, like myself, and I went out in the world of work. I think that's fine, but you need to have a look at the school at a whole, because Villiers High School, even, I'm not going to single out Featherstone, Villiers High School, there was an incident a couple of weeks ago where a group of 7 girls outside a cafe on South Road were having a racist sort of argument. So I walked out of the cafe because I heard a lot of noise, and I know the cafe owner very well, and she goes, can you just check what's going on? So I walked out and go, what's going on, girls? And a girl turned around and called me a racial term, which was totally false, by the way. So I said to her, number one, you've got the race totally wrong. And number two, give me your name, so I'll be heading to your school. So then she didn't give me her name. She goes, who the F are you? This, that. She thought she was Billy Big Bollocks. That's what I'm going to use. So anyway, I contacted the Villiers High School that day while the fight was going on. I said, look, the fight's broken out on the public road, and you need your staff down here. They go, oh, sorry, they're all in a meeting, and we'll get someone to contact you. So the assistant head did contact me. Very lovely gentleman. He goes to me, yeah, what's going on? Gave him a testimony. Then the head of year 8 contacted me and said, what's going on? Do you want to come in? I said, no, sorry. They go, what's going on? I said, this is what's going on, and I'll be at your school in 20 minutes and we'll have a sit down. I don't want to do this over the phone because this needs to be a face-to-face. So I met with this gentleman, waited in the waiting room, waited for him. He took me to his office, gave him my side. He goes, yeah, the girls have actually come forward already, which is quite, not sorry, they didn't come forward. Another group of students reported it to the school. So they found the girls, and they go, thanks for reporting it, sort of thing. And I'll go, yeah, I mean, I can easily write to Ofsted. It's not a hard task to do and get Villiers under review. But if they can sort this out, then sort it out. And I said to them, look, you were deemed an outstanding school, but your students are not representing your school as outstanding outside of the school premises.
Sufyan, the question I want to ask you, Angela, do you recall that the young teenager who came from Acton yesterday to the meeting?
Yes, that's right.
I still can't get it around my head why they brought her down. It still doesn't make sense to me.
Well, the argument is that the consultation isn't just for Southall, but also covers Ealing as a whole. But there seemed to be no recognition on her part, excuse me, that the YAC is closing. I mean, she talked about we need more youth services, we need more youth centres. And for me, there was just a lack of awareness about the bigger picture, you know, what is going on. And, you know, really, as a young person, she should perceive the closure of the YAC as being an attack on young people. Now, some people might say it's very laudable to have affordable housing, but this housing is not going to be inhabited by single adults or couples. You're going to have families with children. One of my daughters pointed out there are no cinemas in Southall. There are no services after school that she can access. No basketball club, no football club. Now, what is there for young people moving into these new developments and the plan for development on the site of the YAC? So it seems to me to be all about the money and not providing suitable infrastructure. Now, I want to go back to the point I made about Ian and, sorry, what's his surname again?
Jenkins.
Ian Jenkins, yeah. And I said, just off the top of my head, that the public school fees for the school that he went to is 30 grand. And I've done a quick Google, right? The term fees for a day pupil, 10,475. So you multiply that by 3, yeah? So more than 30,000. I'm not good at mental arithmetic, but you'll know. Boarding, if you live in, 12,925 a year. The reason why I'm making this point is that he comes from a moneyed background, yeah? The term fees, right, for a day boarder is what I earn in a year working as a teaching assistant, okay? So that is my reality check, that this guy who went to school in Dorset has no comprehension, not even comprehension, no experience, no direct life experience of the cohort of youngsters who access youth services. So, you know, I feel that our young people are being sold out. And what I would really like to see you know, I'm getting older. I'm going to be 54 in April. That eventually that we see young people, as you said, who go to Featherstone, who end up at Oxford and Cambridge, or not even necessarily Oxford and Cambridge, but go to university, that they end up heading up public services like Ian. And I would hope that they would not forget where they come from, and that experience will inform their decision making and strategy development for public services. So I would also hope that young people, in relation to the whole political scene in Southall, will start to think very carefully, should they automatically vote Labour like their parents? Or should they vote for candidates like Sufyan? And Sufyan is from the same community that they are from, went through the same educational system, and is astute and aware and analytical and critical, but for the good of the community.
Yeah, but I mean, Ange, I'll be real with you. I'm not even saying vote for me. Just vote for who you think. Yeah, because I don't want this to turn, because people will flip this and say, well, you're just using this as a platform to boost yourself. Vote for someone you think who will actually give you what you deserve. And if you read, because our manifestos will be coming out soon, I'm pretty sure, Chair, our manifestos will be published soon. Read our manifestos. Don't just read the party manifesto, the party slogan, i.e. for the many, not the few. Read our whole individual candidates' manifestos, because they will show you, and you can do your research on me. You can find me along all social media platforms. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can see the work I do. You can see where I was born, not where I was born, but where I was sort of what sort of work I'm involved with, how long, because I'm not a talking shop. That's far from it. I've actually worked with the community since the age of, I say, about 13, 14, since I stood in the Dominion Centre speaking about the closure of the town hall. Since then, I've been an activist, and I will die as an activist. Yeah, whether I achieve anything, I say, well, an achievement to me is changing one person's life, not changing the world. That's my achievement. Everyone has a different definition of achievement, I know. But if I achieve even helping one person, yeah, apart from outside of my remit, i.e. my friends and my family, if I help someone, one person, that's my mentality, even at my day job. You could ask my manager this. If I help one patient, I have so much satisfaction and sort of a confidence boost in myself. You say that, yes, I've helped one person who I didn't need to help, but I've helped them, and that's given them a better day or a better future. Because the work I do is very strenuous. Like I was talking to Angela Fonzo about it. It's quite strenuous, but I love the work I do because I'm helping people who wouldn't get the help normally.
Sophie and I care about people, and it upset me greatly to see the state of the basketball court on Spencer Street. It is so derelict and run down. It's an insult to the young people of Southall and Old Southall in particular, who live close by. And I kind of feel it communicates to them that they are not worth it. You're not worth it. This is the best you're going to get. Now, according to...
You're not worthy.
You're not worthy, yes, most definitely. And would they want their children, the people in power, our Southall Green councillors and the senior council officers, would they honestly want their children playing on a basketball court, which is like gravel, with broken glass all over the place. I went there last summer with my children, and I feared if they fell, they would end up with glass embedded in their knees. So we didn't play in a very sort of rough way because I didn't want anybody, you know, falling down. And I drive past there sometimes, Joe, and I see children on the basketball court, and it really upsets me because they need space, they need to grow, they need to develop. Sorry, I can't speak properly tonight. They need quality facilities. Now, this week there was the opening of the outdoor gym in Southall Recreation Ground, and Councillor Nand was photographed smiling away on like a bike or something like that. And just across the way, there's a playground. It's seen better days. It needs refurbishing. It needs to be given some attention to show that our children matter. They're important. We're investing in their development. I'm not seeing that with the Let's Go Southall project. You might know different, Joe, but the images that I see, the photographs on Facebook, I've got nothing against middle-aged to older people. You know, I'm in the middle-aged category, but I don't see activities for young people.
Yeah.
You know?
Sorry, and that's what I want to mention quickly. Sorry. So yeah, the leader of the council mentions active travel and active, well, the word active a lot. I'm just going to take the active bit. Active travel is great, riding a bike, whatnot, if you can. Now, activity to me might be going for a light jog. Activity for someone else is going for a 10-mile run. Activity for kids, yeah, because I know this firsthand. My activity when I was a kid was going to Southall Sports Centre, which also is getting closed down. But that was my activity. People can't even afford to go to the sports centre, so they play outside in the public parks. So they, when they go to places like Spencer Street, on the basketball court. Now, I'll be honest, I've never actually played on that court, but I've seen pictures of it. And yeah, it does look run down.
Can we therefore please send a message to our Honourable MP, Mr. Sharma, and ask him, please, because he goes litter picking, remember? So can he come and clean the court, the basketball court on Spencer Street, please? Can we put it out there on YouTube or something? Or send him a message on email that the next time he feels like, you know, he wants to go and have his pictures taken while he's cleaning Southall, perhaps he'd like to come and do some real work instead of just using it as a gimmick.
Spencer Street and Bridge Road.
To take a picture.
Remember
instead of just using it as a picture opportunity.
As a PR stunt.
And the same goes for Councillor Jasbir Anand and Councillor Dinsa. Perhaps, you know, they would like to come there and do a bit of cleaning, because at the end of the day, they are public servants and they are receiving money. So they're not holding any meetings with us. So they might as well do some work on our behalf.
Yeah, and just on that, so yeah, so I mean, well, I'll definitely put it on the to-do list to send an email to the MP. But just another thing on that, so like we say, these PR stunts, why do you need your picture taken picking up litter? Because if you remember, Joe Bangu, after we saw the people who live on the Havelock estate, we met with that gentleman. We headed down Bridge Road. The state of Bridge Road, oh my God, nothing I've ever seen. I've been down Bridge Road and I know what it's like, but that day particularly, rubbish everywhere. So let's go Southall, let's go to Bridge Road and let's go and clean it, because I'll be real with you, that road needs a clean up, whether that's from Greener Ealing, which I've seen loads of vans going around my area, but yet they never come down my road to pick up the waste, which is all along the floor, because I've got a 70, I think he's 74 uncle is, who lives down the road. He is 70, he's in his mid-70s, he's older than my grandfather. probably a couple of years older than my grandfather. He bless him, he goes with the litter picker up and down the road to pick up litter using black bin bags, and he puts it into his own waste because he can't even dump it at the top of the road where the council collection point is. Yeah. So why are the public having to do work which people are paid thousands for a year? I think a litter picker gets about 16 to 17k when I last checked it was. So it's good money. So MPs, if you want to do it for free, drop me a message. I'll tell you where I live. You can come walk up my road and see the state of it. Because at one point there was an alleyway on my road which was full of beer bottles, beer cans, cigarette butts, and all of, until we got the Metropolitan Police in after about, I say about 50 or 60 attempts of calling them. And I said, well, whenever we've turned up, no one's there. So what we did was we got somebody to get them down, and they came, and then they managed to clean up. They cleaned up what was there. They told the guys who were there smoking what they were smoking to clean up and sort the area out, and they cleaned up. And just another point on cleaning is at the top of King Street, if you're on the junction from Norwood Road going onto King Street, opposite Paul's Bakery, I met a very lovely elderly gentleman, Sikh gentleman. I saw him cleaning the beer cans off the floor. So I asked him, Uncle, do you need any help? He goes to me, yeah, if you're ever down and you see these cans, I've provided bins myself because the council wouldn't help me. I've provided bins. If you just throw them in there, please. So, and he's made a little sort of garden. He's planted pots himself. He's obviously got permission from the council, he's told me. He was planted these pots to make the area look a bit more happy, because he's in his late, I believe he said he's in his late 60s, early 70s. And he goes, I don't like to see my home like this. And I said to him, I appreciate you, your help and your dedication. And he goes, I've never asked for a single penny. The council doesn't care about me. The council doesn't care about our people. And I said to him, unfortunately, if you feel this way, you need to speak out. So he made a video with me, and I will be sharing that once I see him next, because he wants to record a long video about the area, because there's I don't know what walk of life they're from. I'm guessing they're Asian. There's a group of Asian gentlemen who stand out there every day with backpacks on to get picked up for jobs. Now, again, I can't really comment on that, what their situation is. I don't know.
Whereabouts is this, Sufyan? Is it on the corner of King Street and Norwood
Yeah,
Road?
so where that car park is, where Norwood Road car park is, the one.
Yeah.
So there, so he's made a little garden. Let me just see if I can pull it up, because I've got a video of it. Because I was quite astonished, actually, because I didn't really pay any attention to it until that day, because obviously I've never needed to, but he showed me around and he goes, look, this is our garden. This is our community garden, he calls it. And it's so, I'm very happy to see someone who doesn't have to do this, who is doing it for us.
I would love to see it. Is it actually in the car park?
Yeah, so just on the flower bed where the trees are. So,
Okay, I need to take a walk down there and have a look. That shows somebody that's telling me that that person loves their community, wants to better it.
Yes, just give me 1 second. Yeah, so this is it. So if I share my screen, and you can guys actually see this.
Do I need to make you host?
Yeah, to just make me host, and I'll just show you, because this was just so lovely to see, and I was just quite. He actually reminded me of you, Joe, because you're such a community man. So he reminded me of you. So if you just make me
Okay, your host now.
share. Don't mind my desktop. I've got a
Oh,
little-
lovely.
so,
Oh, that's so nice.
so this all he's planted
Pretty.
himself. This is him with the orange turban on. So he's made this bench himself. He and I mean, look,
Wow.
what signs up. These are all his signs.
Oh, that's so lovely.
And this is the state next to it, unfortunately.
Right,
this-
is that the other car park? Because
This
I
is the
saw
other car park.
hoardings have gone
Yeah,
up, hoardings
which
gone
was
up around
sold for.
that. You know, that's going to be redeveloped as housing.
Yeah, so this was just before it was boarded up. So there were all mattresses in there. So that's yeah. So he was just I mean he went to go and get a drink. So the reason I stopped was actually because his tools were out. So I was a bit concerned. So I just waited there for a couple of minutes and then he walked back. He goes, "Oh, sorry, sir. I just needed a glass of water." I said to him, "Don't worry, but just be careful. If these land in the wrong hands, it could be quite detrimental." He goes, "Yeah, I'll put them away." He's a very lovely guy. He said that I've lived in Southall 58 years since he came from India. He goes back and he was a builder. He was a professional builder there. And he goes, he's built a bench for these men to sit on because and he goes, "But I've made sure they don't litter." He's there in the morning at 7 o'clock to make sure when they're having their morning beers and their morning fixes, they bin them. Because,
He's an unsung hero, isn't he?
yeah, and that's what I
What a
said to him.
community champion.
I said to him that he goes, he doesn't want any recognition for it. He's doing it because he cares. And I said to him, "Look, you are someone who doesn't come around a lot. There's very few people like you. A lot of people walk past this place like it's nobody's business. They will throw rubbish into there and they will just be like, yeah, so be it. The council will clean it, but the council don't." So, I mean, yeah, so it's just very nice to see. And if he is there when I next walk past, I will make a little short video with him and
That'd be lovely to see.
I'll ask him obviously if I can make a video with him. And then if he says
No,
yes,
that's excellent.
we'll
Hats
post.
off to him.
Yeah, but this is just, I mean, it's just lovely to see like a little bit of community spirit goes a long way because like no one told him to do this and he's gone way out of his way. He's built a bench free of charge. If you
That's
pay
excellent.
something, you've
We
built.
need to do something for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, you know, to bring the community together. Something, I don't know. You've got me thinking now you've talked about this gentleman and how community spirited he is.
We'll get something sorted offline. We'll
Yeah,
definitely-
whether I don't know whether we could do something in the rec or Southall Park. Obviously, we'd have to seek the permission of the council, but something.
So we're doing the rec. We're doing
Yeah.
the rec.
Like a picnic and get people just to bring dishes to share.
Of course. I'm
Why
sure.
not?
I'm sure they've got a kitchen in there, haven't they?
What, in the rec?
Yeah.
No, unfortunately not. But because I just bring a dish to share and, you know, let's hope, you know, the weather's good. But it would show that we are united as a community. We want Southall to be better and that we are connected. You know, if it wasn't for Cash, I wouldn't know you, Joe, and I wouldn't know you, Sophia. You know, and as far as I'm concerned, you know, we are friends for life. It's not just about the campaigning that we do. And, you know,
They're giving grants, aren't they? Ealing Council are giving grants if you're going to hold a party. I think it's £200 or something.
okay, something just to try and bring people together.
Yeah, it's not even about the money, Joe. We can just do it.
No, I'm sure they're giving grants. I've read it somewhere.
Yeah, we'll speak. We'll be in touch anyway, and we'll definitely discuss it. Arrange something.
You got me thinking when he talked about this gentleman he's doing. You know, and he's bringing people together. You know, he's got a bench where they can sit and talk, and yeah, and he's making sure that they're behaving responsibly. He's caring.
But
Are we going to close the meeting maybe a little bit earlier tonight?
yeah,
Because or you want to carry on?
let's wrap up, I think.
Yeah, because I think it's just me, you, and Joe left. Proper
Can we-
hardcore.
Can we fix a date for the filming, please?
Okay, Joe, I spoke
Yep.
to you yesterday about it. So what, Sunday? Yep, you said you're free.
If you want to do it Sunday morning, I have no problem.
Yeah.
Especially now that Bingshire Road is closed, we can actually do filming on top of South Road. Start there, and let people know what the cause of the traffic is.
Yeah. Joe, last night, I didn't notice
Yep.
Beacon Road closed, but thank you for telling us that.
Sure.
Park Avenue was closed.
Yep.
And they've got a contraflow with a traffic light, and the traffic was hideous, even worse than what it was before this contraflow. And there was an ambulance behind us. You know, this was on the way to the consultation. The ambulance struggled to get past. You know, it caused a delay, a noticeable delay. I don't know what it is that they're doing, but all I do know, it's been going on for far too long, for more than a year. And I met a friend, and this was on Ealing Broadway, and she said, if this was Ealing Broadway, it simply wouldn't be happening. You know, the delay would have been minimal.
They've
Because,
closed Bingshire Road 6 times, I believe now.
yeah,
They've
ridiculous.
actually closed it 6 times. Business are suffering, and that's where, you know, that's what I was discussing with the leader, that wherever there's construction and serious development, there should be a rebate of 100% on our council taxes.
Yeah. We need to film on Sunday lunchtime. The traffic's going to be horrendous. It's going to back up down the green. I've seen that on a Saturday with my own eyes. It's going to be even worse if they've got that temporary traffic light and the contraflow outside of this or near the station. It was crazy. And, you know, they've put back the finish date. It was supposed to be January. And now we've been told March. March is only around the corner. So when exactly is the road going to be properly open and free-flowing traffic? The problem is with the stationary traffic as well, Joe. It's causing a build-up of air pollution because people idle, they're not turning off their engines. And it seems to me the councillors simply do not care. They're not interested because they're not affected by it. And, you know, even one of the Southall Green councillors, all he said, oh, I go around the long way. You know, I go on the Hayes bypass. And, you know, it's simply not acceptable. I had to go that way to get to the station because I had a hospital appointment. And I had to get off the bus at Southall Green and walk up to the station because the traffic was bumper to bumper. But yeah, I'm with you on Sunday. Should we meet at the same time? 10 o'clock or 10?
Okay, 10 o'clock.
And where
Yeah.
are we meeting?
On the corner of Bingshire Road and South Road.
Okay.
The only thing is the
Yeah.
traffic might not be busy at that time. It's around about sort of lunchtime, 12-ish onwards, isn't it? So do you want to make it later, Joe?
What I was thinking is then we can do the other filming first, Sofian. Sofian?
Let me get in touch with the shopkeeper.
Yeah, get in touch with the shopkeeper.
I'll
Let's
get
do
in
that
touch with-
filming first, and then we can walk back that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
I
go
would say
see
it's
the-
not lunchtime. You'll see a real backlog of traffic on South Road when
I'll
people
go
want
see
to go.
her. I'll go see her tomorrow. Leave that with me. I'll go see
Don't
her.
forget the gimbal.
Yeah, I'll remember that.
Yeah. Good. I'll remind you.
Back up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you,
Good
everybody.
night. God bless. Thank you.
And thank you for your contributions. Greatly appreciated.
Take care.
You're
All right.
welcome.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.